to this computer. All right, here we go. So if I were to sum up everything that we're going to share tonight, or just boil it down into a thesis statement, it would be something like this. Your lifestyle has more to do with your bone density than anything else. Even if you've already been diagnosed with osteoporosis, osteopenia, whatever. And that literally flies in the face of popular medicine these days, frankly, because although it is true that there are certain populations that are more genetically predisposed to osteoporosis than others. Veronica already mentioned, I have good, strong, thick bones, so I don't fall into that category of people that are prone to osteoporosis, and that's probably true. So they say that aging white and Asian women that are very slender and have these skinny little bones are the ones that need to be monitored very closely because they're the ones that are most predisposed to osteoporosis. But for the vast majority of Americans who develop the condition, the root cause isn't genetic at all. It's actually chronic, often silent inflammation. So, and inflammation actually sets the stage for a huge variety of what we call inflammatory diseases. In the case of osteoporosis, though, how that shows up is that the body simply begins breaking down old bone faster than it can rebuild new bone. And a lot of the medicines that are out there, they simply rebuild new bone. And that's why sometimes you end up with calcium going to all the wrong places and you're still breaking down the old bone too. So just taking the medicine often isn't the best way to go. So I really applaud Terry for being curious about um, nutritional interventions or things that she can do physically that might keep all this at bay. Um, so if you think I'm talking smack here, I just want to show you a slide. Now, I just want you to consider all of the primary causes of osteoporosis that most doctors just actually don't even know about. Let me throw that slide up on the wall here. And I'm going to share my screen. Here we go.
I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. Let's see if it shares. Good, there it is. All right, so you don't need to worry about reading all the little type. I'm going to send this out in the follow-up packet. But it just shows, where they do the DEXA scan and what a healthy bone looks like and what an unhealthy bone looks like. But what I really want to call your attention to is this list right here. Let me see if I can increase its size. Yep, there we go. Let me just move it over here. Can you see this list? Yeah. So
Yeah,
most doctors don't even know the leading cause of osteoporosis is smoking,
that's
alcohol
crazy,
consumption.
really.
I know, really. And here's the thing that drives me nuts. This is why I know for a fact that in decreasing your systemic inflammation is going to decrease the likelihood you're going to get osteoporosis. The third leading cause of osteoporosis is prolonged use of PPIs, and that's a fancy way of saying protein pump inhibitors, and that's Prilosec and a little purple pill, and all of those acid reflux medications. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, my
Uh,
sisters both have acid reflux. That's interesting. And they both have
yeah,
osteopenia.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Those little medications were never meant to be taken long term, and people are on them for years and years and years, and then one day they wake up with
Oh,
broken
years.
bones. It's just crazy. But also diabetes can figure into the mix, thyroid conditions, kidney problems, celiac, rheumatoid arthritis, even dementia. So, all these things can play in. So I'm going to stop the share here. So obviously that has nothing to do with genetics, right? It's all about your lifestyle. So all that being said, really all that really matters when you're attempting to either improve the density of your bones or keep osteoporosis at bay is you simply have to improve the way you move, You simply have to improve the way you eat, and you simply need to improve the way you relax. And I'm definitely going to talk about Tai Chi Chuan because I'm a Tai Chi Chuan geek. Uh, but there's a lot of rock hard science why Tai Chi Chuan is a really good choice when you're dealing with brittle bones or you're concerned about them becoming brittle. So at this portion, what I'd like to do is turn uh, the floor over to Jen. Now, Jen and I got to know each other, like I said, 20 plus years ago. We were both wellness coaches, we were both personal trainers, but Jen is also a group fitness instructor. And I got to tell you, she is really great at it. And there's two kinds of fitness instructors in the world. There's people that are really good at working one on one, and that would be me and Jen. But there's people who are really good at working with groups, and that's definitely Jen and not me. But on top of that, during COVID, what she also discovered about herself is she is just really good at teaching people virtually. So when we decided to reboot this workshop, I thought this is just a perfect way to shine a spotlight on how good she is. So I'm literally going to spotlight her and turn the floor over to her. And she's going to talk a little bit about fitness and she's going to show you some stuff. And if you want to move with her, go for it. Okay. So, Jen, take it away, babe.
All right. Well, thank you, Jessica, for letting me come on here. It's nice to meet you guys. I'm happy to be here. This is what I love to do, and I do love the virtual. It didn't start out like I did, like nobody did, but I found that throughout my 20 plus years of in-person training, personal training, and group exercise classes, that people, including myself, were actually getting better results because the reality of the matter is simply the fact that it takes time to get to a gym. It takes time to come home from a gym. Not everybody's schedules line up and then you miss the class. So, over the course of time, it transformed into just a great way to have help people get the results that they're looking for. And so, I help you to manage that into your calendar in a way that's realistic. Everything I do is in minis, like just anywhere from 5 minutes, to 10 minutes. So it's doable. I can work with you based on what you have. I'm able to make accommodations because not everything works for everyone, but I feel good to know that I can help you for where you're at. So for those reasons, I really like what I do. And I have, all kinds of things I can send you if you're interested. I have a whole 90-day transformation program that specifically, really, my intention is to help people be able to get down to the floor because people stop going down to the floor because they cannot get back up off of the floor. So it's kind of built around that real functional way of training, and everybody's just been successful with it. So I just want to keep going with it. So I just want to throw that out there to you so you know that beyond this training, there are other options, and I guarantee the results. So it's just nice to know you have other options. Virtual is something that a lot of people would just like snub or look away from. But I'm here to say that give it a chance because you get to be with me for 90 days. So that's a little bit about me. I specialize in the mobility for functional living. So functional training, it's primarily just body weight. All you really need is space, and like the phone easily hooks up to the TV, like very simply. And then you just follow what I do in an instructional way, which you'll see tonight. And then like, depending on what type of package you would want, it would be me then giving you personalized guidelines for where you're at and where you want to go. That's kind of that summed up in what I do. So as far as tonight goes, I'll lead the movement piece and you guys can either watch it or just like take notes on it, maybe do it later. That's the advantage of virtual because if you're in your jammies now and you're on the couch, you know that you can still do it at a time that works better for you. So you'll have that, so you don't have to feel pressure to try it or do it, but you'll get a sense of what it's all about. And so to sum everything up, in one big sentence here, it'd be like strong bones, they need smart movement. Okay. And, strength builds the bone. Mobility protects the bone. So you have to know, you have to have both, right? And they're partners. Strength and mobility are partners. They're not opposites. So, like tonight, I just figured it would talk a little bit about the science part of it, not too long, simple, accurate stuff, and how your mobility flow supports osteoporosis, the one that we're going to do here tonight. And like, just so you can understand the purpose of the mobility flow and the objectives that we're trying to achieve here tonight. So I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of talking, not too much talking, but like one, how mobility and functional movement can support osteoporosis. Well, first, as you know, osteoporosis is loss of bone density, and you have that increased fracture risk, especially in your spine and your hips and your wrists. Okay, so it's not just weak bones. It's just we have to learn how to work with this, and that's where the modifications come in. The functional movement, how it will like how it helps the bone. Bones respond to that load that you put on it and direction of force. Okay, so it's not just heavy weights that everybody equates it to, but it's the ability to shift your own body weight in and out of positional changes, transition that body weight in a safe way. Okay, the ability to control the impact there too, and like the rotation that's involved with your spine and your shoulders and your hips, that pivoting motion. All the basic moves, just like the last one that we Jessica and I had co-taught together, just all the basic moves, pushing, pulling, hinging, squatting, carrying things. Okay, so functional movement, it applies that gentle, safe stress, but like for those reasons in the mobility kind of way that I just went over, like it's safe, multiple directions at the same time. A lot of people can't do that and they can be at the gym all the time, and a lot of people can't do this kind of stuff because they skip over it like it's not important because it's just body weight, I guess. I don't know why they do, but it just signals your body when you train this kind of way. And we need this bone and we need to keep it strong. So that's what tonight is about. And also, mobility helps indirectly, but very powerfully. So, mobility, it doesn't build bone directly, but it improves your joint alignment. Okay. If you think about that, also, it improves like that force distribution through your body here, this mobility way of training. And being that it's body weight and we practice it, rehearse it, it does reduce the risk of fall. If you do fall, you're more resilient, the ability to bounce back easier, faster from a fall. That's sort of what the mobility training is versus like getting on a machine and lifting weights and stuff like that. And overall, it's just gonna boost your confidence level. So you're not quite afraid to like do that one thing or go that one place anymore. Like I said in the beginning, like a lot of people, they just don't go to the floor out of just the simple fear that they're not going to get back up off of the floor. It's as simple as that, and so like falls are the number one cause of fractures in osteoporosis, so just like Jessica said, if there's ways that we can kind of train, we have control over that. Like the other things we don't have control over, but if this is making sense to you and you like what you're hearing and then you're finding it kind of works, like in the way you feel, that's something you have control over. So you need to act on that and find ways, I mean, not to say not take your medicine. Oh, you definitely do what the doctor tells you to do. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, you can improve your lifestyle simply through movement. I always said movement is medicine, not just for your body, but your mind too. And so the mobility, it protects the bones, by improving your balance, really it does. And then those transitionals, such as how to get from seat to stand, stand to seat, seat to floor, floor to kneel, kneel to stand. those kinds of transitions, functional every day. You want to have the ability to continue doing that. So it only makes sense to only train in that kind of way. And also, just like I just put out like a little clip saying something like you can be would like what's the use of being so strong when your body can't move? So like all the bodybuilders and everybody that's like working out for the sake of like just looking so good and six pack abs and all these big muscles. But what's the sense of all of that unless that means more to them, then that's they can have that. But for me, it's the ability to move and to continue to long term. Now, we can't prevent the aging process, but we can delay it. And I really think that this is how we can delay it. So, big message, the strength builds the bones, mobility protects your bones. Okay, so I just really I like saying that. It makes me feel good. Um, Objectives. I just want to go over some of the objectives here. You're not going to get this all in one night, one shot, but there's opportunities. You can continue a program like this. I have these offerings for you, but you will gain from tonight just by simply this. And some of the objectives would be to control of your body through space, through the range of motion. Okay. Moving with slow transitions, mindfulness to your movement, bringing that back so you engage the right muscles. Often people, that's how they're ripping out a hamstring or just, they're doing things way too fast. And you're not mindfully thinking about it. You're not going slow. Your brain's not there before the body. And then the body moves faster than the brain can pick up and you strain something. So also just that weight shift, that's important. And that's, you will get that here tonight. Your posture. In my free group, I just did a whole thing it was a 5 minute thing right before I met Jessica on Zoom. And it was just all about simple things. So simple, but we need reminders how the posture really affects a lot of things. And so like just gentle rotation through your spine is what we'll do tonight. And hip stability, obviously, that's important. Foot ankle awareness, these things matter, but they're skipped over a lot of times in the fitness world. But it's really important. And, why not really just apply it to a workshop that's focused specifically for osteoporosis? So it's all about fracture prevention. That's what we want to do. You want to be able to get up and down, like I said, safely, rotate, and twist around without collapsing. And, like I said, the ability to catch yourself if you start to lose balance. And then, the ability to transfer force safely through your spine, if that makes sense. Um, your bones don't just break because they're weak. They break because the body can't really absorb force that well, you know. And so that's where the functional training and the mobility comes in. So, do you guys have any questions yet or anything like that? Okay.
I, I
Mhm.
did have one question. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with the hip thing, and the biggest thing I can no longer do, and I used to do yoga and all of this just up until a couple of years ago. I'm terrified of getting down on the floor now because I don't think I can get back up. So some of these exercises, well, that's going to help, even though my hip is still kind of jacked up. I mean, there's there a way to help me kind of
Yes.
get to that point?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to
Okay,
show
great.
you tonight. Like you'll see, and we'll test it out. We'll run a test and we can see for ourselves. And then you can provide your feedback based on your feedback. That's when I tweak things around a little bit. And then
Hmm.
like that's why it's tonight you will definitely you will walk away with value, walk away with information, you'll
Yeah.
walk away with something that you can take home and apply and utilize. And that's why I chose to do the flow that way I chose to do. But just understand that it's just like anything else. So it's a progressive
Oh,
plan.
yeah.
The ideal thing is the building upon building based on where you are and what you're feeling. Okay, because we don't want to induce any kind of injury here either. So it's very one-on-one and worked through. But I think tonight we'll test it out. I think what I have in mind will work for you based on what you just
Like I
said.
said, it's just interesting because I do go to the gym and I like what you said because it's always, I've been a gym rat for years. So it's strength, strength, strength. But you know what I mean? I've got the urban poles. I don't know if you've ever heard of those where you do the pole work and you try to like work on your gait. I'm just trying to get my balance back. So I love hearing
Yeah,
this. This is kind of cool because I'm
exactly.
strong, but
Right.
I'm not, I'm
I hear
not,
you. I definitely hear you. And that's why it's just like people just don't even understand the idea of just that transitional thing. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I could do it all day long, but still I have to stop and like realign, brace
yeah,
my abs really tightly just to do a
yep,
line. Okay. So like, people are loading up the weight real fast and, I just don't know how safe that is. And, everybody's coming into PT. I work with the PT company and I do their mobility program is what I do.
okay,
So,
great.
And
and
also
before,
the other thing that happens when we age is that like your connective tissue doesn't gain strength anywhere near as fast as your muscles. So your muscles can be really strong, but your tendons and your ligaments might be having
Yeah,
trouble keeping up with that. And if it's not all in sync, then you're
okay,
still going to have some real
so,
instability. Yeah.
so I really, I just remembered this too. I lead the mobility program there where I do a stretch. I put you on the table. This is good for every single person. Highly recommended because I set you up to succeed. I do the stretching on you and get you to your fullest range of motion for what you're capable of then. Then it's up to you. And then I give you things to do to keep and maintain that range of motion around your joints. So this is really it's all about the fascial nets. So that's like
yep,
everything. Everything is connected. So it's not just stretching a muscle group. They're all wrapped in. Everything's wrapped in a netting system, such as like
yep,
pantyhose, if you think of it like that, and it
yep,
just
yep,
encapsulates everything. So we're getting into joint capsule release. Okay, we're getting into
okay.
all kinds of things, and I offer a 25-minute free stretch. Rocky Run, why? Well, you guys aren't around here. That's the only thing. Hands on, you have to be around here. That's the only thing. But
They
in the
have to do
program,
that.
but in the program, I teach you that PNF technique to do. So keep that in
Right.
mind as well. It's very, very good because the stretching component and what Jessica just mentioned with the connective tissue, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So, tonight, key point, we're not stretching aggressively here. Okay. We're training our bodies to move with control through space. Okay. And it teaches the joints how to align, stabilize, transfer force, safely into the bones. Okay. So all this stuff is going to help you. And when we train in this way, helping you to stepping off of a curb. Okay,
Yep.
catching yourself from a trip up, down off the floor, everything that I keep saying, but it really should be, very, very reinforced. One thing is rotation is especially important because many spinal fractures, let me just see here, they happen, when the weight is too much or you're doing rotation. So we're going to teach you how to rotate with control, not tension. And we don't want to fall. So balance isn't just about strength, it's about mobility, awareness, reaction time. These things matter. Okay, I think we should get started because I'm trying to look at the time here and I don't want to overdo it with talking too much.
Yeah. Hey, do you
Just
think we can do it
remember,
in 15 minutes? Do you think
yeah,
we can?
sure. No aggressive stretching. Okay. No aggressive spinal flexion under load. No fast twisting. No bouncing at the end of the ranges. We're not doing anything like that. It's just going to be all slow, controlled, intentional. And it's just not about going to extreme range. It's about safe, strong range. Okay. And I think we should just start. Okay. So, you guys have seen, I'm just going to start here. And I do this for the people in my group. And this is where I start you out. Okay. Because even if you can get to the floor and you can get back up, no problem, you're still going to be stretching and moving in a flowing way on an incline with support and assistance. So this isn't the best thing because it's a swivel. Okay. So right now I'm already going to be testing out my balance. Not the best. But you would have something like a countertop, a table, a chair, just something. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just come down here and put my forearms right here. I'm just going to flatten out my back, squeezing my shoulder blades together. And then I'm just going to take my hips side to side. And as I do that, I'm just looking over my shoulders one at a time. Now, all your upper body weight is resting on your forearms. It's a great thing, and it gets it out of the back. Okay, so legs are straight, and I'm just swaying my hips side to side. It feels so good. I love it. Okay, and now my feet are together, totally supported. And now I'm just bending one knee at a time, shifting the weight side to side. Both heels are on the floor. That's going to be your key. Both heels on the floor. And again, you can look back if you want to incorporate a little bit more movement there. You can look back, no problem. Okay, so we're going to transition from here now. And what I'd like you to do is I'll just start. This would probably be the more complicated one, but it'll be okay. So if I'm down on my elbows here, that gives me better leverage for when I lift up one leg. And you can grab hold of something if you're bad with the balance right now. I sort of try to turn so that my hip sort of faces that side wall and I bend my knee at the same time. So just a lifting of the leg, kind of rotating through your spine, little bit, not that much, but you'll get a little bit of a stretch through the front part of your leg. So I'm just doing this a couple times just to sort of warm up the pathway here. I can feel a stretch in the front of my leg, but really the idea is kind of if you get a little bit of that rotation here in the standing leg. So it's the ball and socket of the standing leg that I'm doing this. This is actually pivoting through. And then this top leg is getting this stretch right there. Okay, so we do that. And now I'm going to take that foot lower to the floor and line it up with the front foot. Now take a step closer to whether it's the chair or your counter or whatever it is. And I'm just going to look down to see that my feet are lined up. Okay, the back one is behind the front one, and the back one is slightly turned out. And just when I'm here, I'm simply doing the same thing, a little bit of movement, just a little bit of movement here. So the front leg is bent, the back leg is turned out. And from here, now I'm going to twist toward the front leg that's bent. So hold on to something, and you're just trying to just sort of reach kind of toward the sky. You may not go far, but that's okay. And then you come back down again, little bit, slow rotation here through your spine, getting your shoulder to sort of open up, chest, feeling the stretch there. Try to relax your neck and your shoulders as you move through. So you have to prepare your body here. So we're going to go through these movements now. That's great. Okay, so now we got our rotation coming through. So now we're going to move onward. So reset. Your arms are down, always coming back to the starting point for a reset. This is the mindfulness of the front leg. It must stay engaged and it must stay bent. That's the only way the muscles are going to stay engaged. This is where the balance is going to come in, and it may not look like a lot, but you might be surprised. Okay, so first coming up to straight arms here. So the legs stay put. The front leg is bent. Awareness. The back leg is straight. Your foot is turned out back there, so it gives you more balance. In other words, if you had your in a lunge stance here, this is going to be much harder to balance. But I'm going to start right here with that back foot turned out. It's going to give you a little bit more base. From here, we're lifting up this spine. Get this all out of your neck and shoulders by just doing some simple, twisting here at your neck. And from here is your balance. So you got to keep your front leg bent, engage those muscles, and simply just come back. Support your spine, open up your chest, and then just come back down. And again, balancing up and down, just like so. Here's your hinging motion. That front leg has to stay bent. People come out of it all the time, but we have to learn how to engage the right muscle group here. And it just comes with a little bit of practice and time. So we're just doing our hinging here, no problem. We got this. And then you can always just come up if you want to get that stretch in and open up your chest, drop your shoulders down, get rid of the neck tension. There we go. Now we're coming back into this. And what I'm going to tell you to do is step your feet together. You may have to readjust them somewhat, but they're fairly close to your countertop or the chair. And you may have to readjust. Now I'm going into a downward dog on an incline. What does that mean? I'm pushing my hips back as my head drops. My ears come between my biceps. And then when I'm here, my spine is still lifted. In other words, it's not rounded. I'm anchored to that counter or to the chair, table, whatever you have. Upper body is anchored. I'm thinking about drawing my hips to the back wall and bending one knee at a time while both heels are on the floor. Keeping that movement right there. Very good. And then you're just going to come up, like shifting forwards. Now I'm kind of like in a table. And then you're coming up to a stand. Sweep the air up. We're going to do this on the other side. And then I'll show you how you can mix things up. Okay, so now we're back to realignment. Always coming back to center, neutral spine, shoulders down and back. Inhale up, exhale, and bring it down right where you started. Step the other leg forward, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and lift up the back leg on the other side, trying to sort of turn to the side wall if you can, and then lower the leg. Again, lift, bend, and then place it back down. Just preparing the pathway here. Okay, good. Now we got to line up the feet. Awareness comes in. Step that foot closer to your base. This is when you bend that leg, and then we're twisting toward that leg. So it might be small, and then as you get used to doing it, I give you your assignment. Maybe do it 3 times a week. Maybe do it every day. Whatever your assignment would be. You get to see the increase in your range of motion here. And then we're just twisting up. All right. And then we come down. Okay. Now from there, come up to your hands or arms are straight here. This leg is bent. It stays bent. This is a balancing. Coming back up and down. Just preparing the pathway. Very good. And we come down. All right, step your feet together. And then let's just adjust them. You might have to scooch them back just a little bit so you can come back into your downward dog here. Downward dog, meaning your spine is lifted even though you're hinged over. Your hips are tilted to the back wall. And you just create a little movement here at your knees by keeping both heels on the floor. Just a little bit of movement, some that you might not normally get. But this feels great. This feels great. And then you're lifting up through your spine here. Coming up to all fours. Balancing lift. I always bring the shoulders dramatically back every time I come up to a stand because I want to realign, okay? And the fact of the matter is, we're usually like this, in this position, on a computer, on a phone, or just slouched over in a chair because we're way too comfortable. But this is part of the corrective exercise program that I do, and then we just constantly remove the stress and tension from your upper body, which it all lands right here. So that's good. So that's your demonstration of that, and which you can refer back to. And then what happens is, then you say, okay, there's 3 parts to this. Now I got it. Okay, so I'm going to think of it like this. when my feet are in this sort of warrior stance here, I'm going to be twisting toward the front leg. Okay. I'm going to be lifting the back leg at one point in time, and then I'm going to be hinging back up. So 3 parts on each side. And then you sort of start to flow through them much easier. Okay. And then what happens is we take it lower. So this is no longer a stool or a counter. It comes down to be lower, like the back of your couch. Then it'll come down to like the cushion of your couch, lower. And then it'll come down to like, the stool, lower. And then it'll come down to the floor. And before you know it, you can kind of do these things. That's what I'm saying. It's a little explanation of what I had said earlier, showing you how this will progress. But for even if you have no trouble at all getting up and down off of the floor, to do this is good for anyone because you're going to get the benefits of all that just transfer of movement and range and plane of motion, okay, and working on multi-planar movements, important thing. So osteoporosis, what do they say? Impact, like impact is good, right? So people have seen a burpee. Not everybody can do a burpee. People are having trouble just even like getting even near close to the floor, let alone do a burpee. If you don't know what a burpee is, I can show you real quick. I don't know if you're going to want to do it with me. It's really not a lot of fun. It's a lot of exertion, but it's good. It's still good, but it would be a jump up, come down, jump back, lower, up. Here we go. Jump, jump. That's a burpee. Nobody feels like doing that, but you may be able to do that very soon if you train in that kind of way. So this is what I show people who come to my class. Starting up here. And this may be good for the osteoporosis with the fact that you do need a little bit of, impactful movements on your joint without hurting your joints. I don't even like to use that word. But basically, if you have a base right here, first of all, you're going to keep your knees soft. This is what it means. So starting position is soft knees here. I'm just going to give myself a little springy action. You practice that. And it's just a little jump back. And then you got to sit back into it to create that little float up. And then you don't have to jump up, but you might maybe start here. Like some people start here up to their tippy toes. But then you may get some air underneath in the feet as you swing the arms like that. Okay. So, I mean, this would be something in real life that you may want to try. And guess what? If you don't really like the look of it or the feel of that, then it goes like this. Come back 1 foot at a time, come up 1 foot at a time, and just come up to your tippy toes. Do it again. Come back, come up, there, other side. And we're just alternating. Before you know it, your heart rate gets up. You feel like you have some cardio and you are, doing that movement that is good to strengthen your bones. And, before you know it, you're building into that. So I think that's really cool. So there's 2 things. Another thing I want to show you is, like without you, if you don't want to get on the floor right now, you don't have to. But if you are on the floor, say you get up in the morning or you want to get out of bed, I'll show you something for that. Okay, so say I'm here.
Jim, we just lost you. Can you lower your camera down?
Oh yeah.
Completely off screen.
Yeah, you have to tell me if you can't see. I'm so sorry if you can't see.
No, that's okay. It's just this one time because you're down on the
Oh,
floor.
hi. My son just got him. I'm in the middle of teaching the osteoporosis. So, if you're laying here in the bed, can you see me now? Jess?
Yes, yes, we can see you. Yes.
Okay. So if you're laying in the bed and you want to get up, um, you could just simply bend, roll onto your side, roll onto your belly. And then if you can come up to your elbows, that would be good. And then I scooch my elbows back toward my ribs. I lift my hips. And then I kind of crawl my knees toward my elbows. And by now, I'm back and I just sit my weight into my hips here into a child's pose. And then from here, I'm going to slide my hands underneath my shoulders to get up to all fours. Okay, from here, you could probably swing your leg off of the bed. But if you are on the floor, I love this one. If you are on the floor, it's much easier and you just practice this. Like at home, this would be something you could practice with like a couch next to you and maybe an ottoman over here because you want to catch yourself because not everybody has this balance and you do lose your balance. So you got to set yourself up with safety in the meantime. So, you're not going to do it out on the concrete with nothing around. You're going to be with the carpet. You got your, maybe some pillows around you, but it'd be worth practicing. So now you're on all fours. So now I'm going to dig my toes into the floor and then lift up my knees only for a second because it is heavy. And as I do that, I'm just doing this little shifting of the weight to get my feet wider. I got to get my feet wider. Okay. And now I'm here. My feet are nice and wide, toes are pointed out. And I just little inch by inch come back to here. This is the part where people, when I show them in the gym, they go real fast and then they almost fall over backwards because they're rushing it. They're doing everything that we told you not to do in the beginning. So if you come back to here and then you take your forearm and you put it on your thigh and use your arm to help lift up the other part of the body weight, put the other forearm on the thigh here. Mindfulness, you now need to squeeze your shoulder blades together. In other words, you don't want your head hanging and you don't want your spine rounded. So your spine is lifted. Now, one hand goes on the thigh, not the knee. The other hand goes on the thigh, not the knee. So now you straighten out your arms. And then you squeeze your shoulder blades. In other words, your head is not hanging down and you're not rounded. You squeeze your shoulder blades. And then you mindfully think about squeezing your glutes. And as you do that, it pushes your hips forward and you come up and your spine has been protected the whole time. Your spine, there was no movement in your spine. You already aligned it before you added the movement. That's safety. Now you simply step your feet together and realign, bringing your shoulders down and back because people are tense right there. They always come out of it very tense. And what happens? Shoulders are up to your ears. No good. Always coming back to this. In fact, one shoulder at a time, rolling back, easy rotation in your spine. Head goes side to side, drop and roll, come back to the center,
Can you
and you're back to
raise
line.
your camera up a little bit, Jen? We've lost your head.
Okay. And you're back to alignment. Okay. So you're gonna have this on record.
Yeah.
And if you like it and you want to practice it, you can. All right. But I'm
That's
hoping that I was able to apply that knowledge to the movement piece. And that to me would be a good starting point for you guys. Those little things right there.
That was great, Jen. That was great. And the other thing she began to touch upon, ladies, was there are certain movements that qualify as both strength and impact. She gave a little bit of a jumping technique there, but and that's another valuable aspect of osteoporosis protection is you want just a little bit of impact in your life on a regular basis. The American College of Sports Medicine recommends we get somewhere between 20 and 60 minutes, 3 or more days a week of any kind of impact, and even walking counts. So if you don't want to do any hopping or do that combination strength and impact thing she was showing you, which was great, even just walking counts. So between the pounding on the bones and the pulling on the bones that you're doing with any of these strength and conditioning moves she showed you, you are totally protective physically. What was that line you said, Jen? That strength builds your bones and mobility protects it. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, so it's just really moving in a multi-planner way, okay, doing it regularly. That's the mobility piece of it. So you need the strength to build it, to help with the bone strength and all that stuff. But like I said, what good's all the strength when your joints are so locked up and you really can't move freely. When that happens, you know the muscle sort of gets the like scar adhesion, sort of like glues together kind of. And unless you're doing something regularly like myofascial release, or if you get a stretch with me, or you learn different stretching techniques, then you enable that. That's that's a great thing because it'll keep your joints, with the ability to move through the range of motion.
Mhm.
So it can't just be strength and no range of motion, because then that's not movement really, or it's choppy movement. And that's the kind of thing that leads to imbalance when one muscle group is too tight. So hoping it makes sense.
So,
It absolutely made sense. I don't, the only thing that happens, I love those movements we were doing. My leg, the hip that's weird. When that was the bound, I guess I should say the strong leg or whatever, when it was the forward, I had trouble using the other leg. And I'm wondering, working with you or working through this kind of work, would that eventually get that leg to actually have a little bit more range of motion where it can actually support? Because when this left leg was down, I'm like, yeah, I love this. And then when the right leg was like forward, I'm like, okie dokie. Where I was like barely able to lift my leg, the other leg.
Yes,
I'm like, because that right leg was just like, no, I don't think so. And there's
exactly.
also a little bit of a mental thing, but I know. And could this also complement, like I go to the gym like 3 days a week. Would you say you could do a complementary thing where you could still do the
Definitely, yeah.
exercise?
So because it's all virtual, it's the kind of thing where you take it to the gym with you. At least you know exactly what to do in a safe way. Like you're not just pulling things off of YouTube and seeing some other person doing something, trying it out. You have the ability to do it in the gym or at your home. But to answer your question with that, yeah, definitely so. You will have hope to know that. My personal belief, and maybe other people don't believe it, and that's okay. But I do believe that there is a way to get things fixed and to get things
Yes,
better. And I know,
yes,
like, just based on the knowledge that I have, I know how to do that. You know what I
yep,
mean?
yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
not it's not as complicated as what it may be, and it's never like a lot of people say, never, I'll never be able to do that again. Doctor will tell you can't do that anymore.
Right,
Like
right.
I don't believe that's true,
Me either.
and
I
I will
don't either.
I'll go against them every time. So I would say yes to your question.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And since Jen can't stay with us for the whole night, Terry or Veronica, do you have any more questions for her at all?
Terry's still muted.
Tara, you're muted. Yeah. Here, I'll remove the spotlight.
In my studio where I am, my chair rotates and I don't have much space.
Yeah. My
So,
chair was way too low. I
yeah, I
realized I had to
couldn't.
have it the back.
So I'll have to try that out in the living room.
Yeah.
That's where I try the getting up and down off the floor, which I haven't done in a while. I've been avoiding it and I need to
Mhm.
try it. And
But just do it
I
in a
wrote
safe
down your
way.
instructions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I saw a thing on the internet that I liked and I tried out where, well, you start sitting up and you start with one leg hooked under the knee and you follow your hand and it brings you across to where you're in this position.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that gets you up at least on your hands and your knees, and then
Yeah.
pushing up backwards like you were showing.
Yeah.
And also when you have to go down to the floor, like even here, if you're seated with you again with your wider base, with your feet wider, you could practice these just by going here. This would be a good,
Oh, that's a good idea.
you know,
Okay.
gateway into it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that would
yeah, I
definitely be
like
something I could
that.
do with the
Good
hip. I
idea.
do like that too, because that keeps me from being jumping on the floor right away.
And that's where you would start then. You would start
Yeah.
there and feeling the transfer of your body weight and then getting a sense of that so you know how much to push back because sometimes people
Uh,
push too and then they're falling backwards
Yeah.
or they don't apply enough weight on their arms that then they're tumbling over forward and losing the control that way. So
Yeah.
that gives you a good sense of the kinesthetic awareness.
Yeah.
the
And the
trouble
good
with
news-
falling is you never fall in a convenient location. You've got plenty of space.
I know.
And the
Like
ground is
in a
soft.
bathtub, it's very, very narrow and it's
I
very
know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like if you set yourself up right on a soft surface, like with a carpet, you put yourself around multiple pillows just in case, you know what I mean? And you just kind of
you
start
can
there with
always
that little
crawl to
spot.
the couch.
Right. Right. That's true.
So we can
Ordinarily, you're
contact you.
not in a safe place.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Veronica?
I was gonna say, we can also reach out to Jen and talk about maybe getting a mobility plan if there's something that we were looking to do. Okay.
Yeah, so Jess will give you the information in the end in the final email, and then you'll have my contact information, and then we could just start off with like just a phone conversation. I get to know you, you get to know me, I tell you what I have to offer, you see if you like it, and it's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, I really did like the movements tonight. I'm definitely going to be
Yeah.
using those going forward for sure. So
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. That's great.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jen. We really appreciate you
thanks,
being here
Jen.
tonight.
Thank you. It was great to meet you guys. Hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
Well,
Bye.
we'll wrap it all up real soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Veronica, you segued really well into what I probably needed to say right from the get-go is there's no way to cover all of this
No,
100%
no.
tonight. But if you need more help with the physical stuff, yeah, definitely reach out to Jen, and I'm going to make sure that you know how to do that. If either one of you needs more help with the nutritional side of it, you can definitely work with me. If you need more help with Tai Chi, you can actually work with Terry or with me because she's
Well, that's the other thing. I would
I
love
don't
to do
do
Tai.
online.
I'd love to do Tai Chi, but I don't think this hip is strong enough yet. I
You
don't know that I can.
absolutely could.
Yeah, you
You
could.
think
You
so?
can do seated even.
With absolutely no doubt whatsoever that you could do the style of Tai Chi that Terry and I teach. There's a lot of Tai Chi out there that you could not do. You're right. But I've never met a soul who can't do Tai Chi. So I wouldn't worry about that
Okay,
one.
because I was just wondering, because I mean, the right hip, when we were doing the movements where my left leg was in control, I was doing fine with Jen. But then it was like when my right foot had the right leg had to be the anchor, I'm like, okay, that's not,
Yeah.
I'm not
In
ready for
fact,
that yet.
I recommend Tai Chi as well, and the stretches are very subtle.
Yeah.
And the weight shift, you learn how to balance your weight shift and all of that stuff.
In
And
fact,
it's not
I
as
promise you,
awkward.
we're even going to do, I think, at least one move tonight, and I'll show you one that I know for a fact you can do right now, no matter what's going on.
Okay, great. Because I've been interested in Tai
Standing
Chi for years and I've just never pursued it. So
Yeah. Okay, so now what I want to switch gears though, and I do want to talk a little bit about nutrition.
great.
So have either one of you ever heard of Dr. Michael Greger?
No.
He might sound familiar because, believe it or not, how we first learned about him as a nation was he was at the forefront of the mad cow disease thing. He was one of the people that first called it out and said, that's what this is. But that was decades ago. But what he has done in the interim period between then and now is he's created this amazingly comprehensive website called nutritionfacts.org. It's a completely nonprofit.org, by the way. He makes $0 off of it. And
Say that again, nutrition what?
Nutrition Facts, FACTS.org. But in addition to that, he's also written several books, and this is what I really think you need to write down. And I'm going to send you information on this. The book that he's written that is my absolute favorite. In fact, it's on my website on my um, things I like page under the book section. It's called How Not to Die.
Okay. Well,
It's been
okay.
on the it's incredible. It's been on the New York Times bestseller list for like something like 15 years. And he took the 15 leading causes of death in the United States of America, and he did basically a meta-analysis of all the things that contribute to those leading causes of death and all the things that might actually heal those leading causes of death, even if you already have the diagnosis. And what he came down to is if you have a plant-based diet, first of
Yep.
all, you're way less likely to develop these conditions. But secondly, if you get one of these conditions and you turn to a plant-based diet, or at least a whole food plant and partially plant-based diet, you will reverse those conditions.
I believe that. Absolutely.
And
That's
now,
why the name sounds familiar. I'm sorry. I was
yes,
a vegan for about 8 years,
there
and
you go.
I've gone back to doing tuna, salmon, some
Yeah,
turkey.
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm wondering if I shouldn't go back to more,
Well,
yeah,
you know what? Let's talk about that a little later. But I don't think you're on the wrong path there, Veronica. I think you're doing a good job because another thing that I actually read on Dr. Greger's site was he recently did, well, I guess it's not that recent anymore. He did a blog on the risks and benefits of calcium supplementation.
yeah,
So this is
okay.
going to be particularly interesting to Terry, I think. And what he was
Michael Greger, did you say?
Greger, Greger. And what he said in this blog was the body's preferred source of calcium is food rather than supplements. And beyond that, the body is also so amazingly intelligent. It's the most complex ecosystem on the planet, actually, that the body figures out how to absorb more or less of the calcium in food based on how much calcium it needs. So that's why when we turn to food as our primary source of calcium rather than a supplement, we never end up with kidney stones or calcium deposits on our bones, which of course are both leading risks of heart attacks and strokes. You know, you don't want the calcium to go places where it shouldn't go. But when you're using a supplement as your leading source of calcium, and in some cases, the medicines that they put us on are basically a fancy supplement, we are running a risk of having too much calcium in the body. And then you start to have these calcium deposits on the bones and kidney stones and all these things. So the bottom line with all this is if you can, you don't necessarily have to go vegan because boy, that's a whole big conversation. There's a lot of vegans in this country that are not very healthy because it's
Oh, absolutely.
kind of sexy to be vegan in this country right now, you know. But if you're eating foods as whole as possible, or as I like to say, um, as close to their original packaging as you can pull
Yes.
off, right?
Yep,
So things that aren't in a box or a bag is generally
exactly.
a good idea. They're not processed and they're not mixed up with ingredients that don't even exist in nature, right? And primarily plant-based. Then in general, you're going to be taking in enough calcium, probably, that the body may just figure all this out on its own. So there's a couple of ways to go here that can really help make sure that you're getting a lot more whole food and a lot more vegetables. So I want to show you a couple slides here. Hang on a sec, let me throw them up on the screen. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Ooh, there we go. Can you see the Mediterranean plate there?
No.
yet. Oh, here
Oh,
we go.
there it is. There it is. Okay.
There we go. Okay. All right. So people tell me that one thing they like about working with me nutritionally is that I don't make them count stuff. Carbs or macros or grams or weigh things and all that stuff. I like to do it visually. So no matter how large or how small a meal that you're planning, I like to think of the plate as a circle and then just divide the circle down the middle and divide one of the half circles in half, right? And the way to build a very healthy Mediterranean meal every single time is to fill 1/4 of your plate with protein. And in Veronica's case, it could be fish or turkey or chicken or, something like that, or eggs, right?
Eggs. Yep.
Um, Fill 1/4 of your plate with some sort of whole grains or beans. It could be beans in a can. If you live in San Antonio, you probably have a lot of beans down there, beans in a can. It could be whole grain brown rice. It could be um, it could be oatmeal. That's a great example of
Could
a
be
whole.
quinoa. I love
It could be
quinoa.
quinoa is a great thing to fill that 1/4 of your plate with because it's sort of halfway between a grain and a nut, for Pete's sake. It's a
Exactly.
and then the whole rest of your plate. So we're talking about half of the circle, fill it up with vegetables as fresh and whole as you can manage. And you're going to be eating a really healthy Mediterranean meal every time. Now, one thing I want you to notice is there's no dairy on this plate, right? If you want some dairy foods and you're trying to maintain a Mediterranean diet, you want to stick with things that are made from goats and sheep's milk,
Yeah.
not from the cow.
Yep.
Because if you look at all the people who live around the Mediterranean basin, you will notice that they don't have cows there. They have goats and they have sheep. And why that's really valuable to human beings is because 70% of all the people roaming the planet, so not just people who live in the Mediterranean basin, 70% of all people actually don't own the bacteria required to digest cow's milk.
Yep.
And so if you eat cow's milk, and this is something that most doctors tell you, eat dairy products for your bones. They are so confused on this point. You're actually going to mess with the integrity of your digestive tract. And that's like the gateway to your health. So if your digestive tract is getting beaten up when you're eating foods that your body simply doesn't know how to digest, over time, you're going to have chronic systemic inflammation. You're either going to have acid reflux, or you're just going to get sick, or you're going to get osteoporosis, or all of the above. So, and
What
so
about organic versus not organic? Tell me.
if you're going to go with some sort of dairy product and you don't like goats or sheep's milk, it must be milk from a cow that has been raised organically in the pasture, not the way Americans typically treat their cows. It's
Nope.
very important because if you force feed a cow to eat stuff it's not meant by nature to eat, then you got to feed it all these antibiotics and hormones and stuff in order for that to happen. And then that ends up in your body in the form of the dairy and then the cheese.
Yep.
So you're really better off. Most people, especially people that are dealing with brittle bones, they're probably better off dairy free. But if you must have dairy, a lot of people are, really into cheese. They say that people are more into cheese than ice cream, actually.
Oh, and
Uh,
cheese is addictive. It's got the
it's a big
casein in
deal.
it. The
Stick,
casein is what does it
I
for
know,
him.
really, but stick with goats or sheep's milk
Yeah.
cheese, okay? But rather than drinking gallons and gallons of milk, maybe have a little bit of good quality, you know, goat's cheese, sheep's milk cheese. My favorite sheep's milk cheese is Manchego. It's actually from Spain, and
Yes.
it's
Oh, I forgot
delicious.
about that.
It tastes like a combination of cheddar and mozzarella. It's fantastic.
Would you spell that, please?
Um, Manchego, Manchego. It's probably easy to find in San Antonio, Terry, because it's Spanish. Or goat's cheese. delicious stuff. It actually comes in all different styles. You can get, or um, uh,
Not
um,
recommend like cheddar or cheeses like that.
I
They're
wouldn't. No. Reggiano cheese. Locatelli is a style of sheep's milk cheese that tastes an awful lot like Parmesan. You could put
Oh,
that on your plate if instead of Parmesan cheese, and that's made from sheep's milk. Good
what do you think
quality
about
local.
plant-based cheeses? Anything with those? I mean,
Well, here's the thing. We were talking about how it's so sexy to be a vegan these days.
yeah.
It's the whole plant-based thing is getting kind of sexy too. And of course, the food manufacturers want
Oh
to
yeah,
make
they jumped all over it, you
they
know.
jump all over it. They want to make their nut. So we go and we create these products that never existed before. We wanted to make these products, and a lot of them are loaded up with stuff that have never existed in nature. And when they land in your
Oh,
stomach, they're going to have just as deleterious an effect as
that's true.
the cow's milk.
Yeah.
So if you want to make your own, now my kiddo makes a really reasonable facsimile of ricotta cheese out of um, almonds, believe it or not.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sorry, not
Yeah.
almonds, cashews. My husband just shouted down because he knows it's
Cashews.
thing, cashews. And it's not hard at all. You just soak them and add certain things to
Yep.
it, and it comes out tasting very much like ricotta. And she stuffs zucchini with it, all this stuff, and it's delicious. It's
Mm.
very time consuming and labor intensive,
Yes.
but it can be done. But then again, we're also using whole food, and that's one of the huge criteria here for improving the density of your bones. Eating foods as close to their original packaging as you can possibly get away with. Eating foods that only exist in nature. Eating a lot of vegetables. I want to show you another plate here, another plate diagram. This next way of going, let me make sure I share it before I start talking, and then I have to talk about Tai Chi Chuan. We can't have an evening about this without talking about Tai Chi Chuan.
What about the labeling on fruits and vegetables? Should we only be eating organic fruits and vegetables?
So glad you brought that up. I'm going to get to that right next, okay? Put a pin in that. We're coming right back to it.
Okay.
So how of the two of you have you heard of paleo nutrition? That's also gotten kind of
Absolutely.
sexy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I want to tell you, just because somebody tells you they know how to teach you how to do paleo, don't necessarily believe it because it's also gotten very sexy.
Mm-hmm.
But I was trained to teach it by the people who invented the concepts. So if you want to learn more about paleo nutrition, you come straight to me. Um, there is something that we do when we're introducing somebody to the paleo program. Most people call it a whole 30. It's sort of a detox. But if you just wanted to start dabbling in paleo nutrition, here's the way you build a high quality paleo meal every time you sit down to eat. Just like with the Mediterranean plate, you think of your plate as a circle. It could be a tiny little snack or it could be a big full dinner plate. Divide that plate in half. Divide one of the halves in half again. Now we're just going to fill up 1/4 of your plate with high quality protein.
Sorry.
Any protein of your choice. If it's beef, I'd want it to be grass fed, Uh, but you'd be better off probably with salmon or fish or free range chicken or turkey or cage free eggs or something like that. And then fill the whole rest of your plate with vegetables. Now, this would fix the systemic inflammation in your body faster than anything on the planet. This is
True.
the way to go. Um, Many people, when they're dabbling with vegan, they end up not eating enough protein, and that makes them sick. But this way, you've got all the benefits of veganism, but you've also got more protein on your plate. And boy, this just, like I said, it just knocks inflammation out of your system so fast, it's ridiculous.
And that's just because you're getting rid of the grains or
Yes.
the
Yes. Now,
starchy
there's
carbs.
nothing
Yeah.
wrong with whole grains, but for a lot of people, it's a slippery slope. When you're eating grains, you want more grains, right?
Absolutely.
And for a lot of
Absolutely.
people, um, they tend to eat way more grains than vegetables, but all the vegetables is where you're going to get all your vitamins and minerals. So this is the best way to eat a lot more vitamins and minerals. If you have any weight to lose, the weight will just fall off of you when you go this route
Absolutely. Right.
because there's less calories this
Right.
plate than there would if you had grains on there too. But for some people, this is too rigid and too constricted. So again, there's nothing in the world wrong with, let me stop this share and go back to the Mediterranean plate. It's just faster to
What
get the
about
inflammation out.
what about sourdough bread? Is that
They
where
say that sourdough bread is better for your digestive tract because it has the mother.
Right.
And if you're using, there's certain grains out there that are fairly gluten-free. I think I just learned of a new one the other day. I'd never even heard of it. I can't even remember the name of it right now. There's a lot of gluten-free stuff on the market right now, and I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest with you, because again, a lot of it has ingredients that never existed in nature before, just a few years ago. So if you want to eat grainy foods, you're better off sticking with this plate diagram than going with the gluten-free products.
Yeah.
If you really like sourdough bread and you don't feel like it has any negative impact on your body, then go for it. You could
I
put
don't
that
know
in the
if it
quarter
does,
section.
but there is some rosemary sourdough bread that they sell here that is just divine, and I'm
Yeah, yeah.
addicted to it.
Now, you know what? One thing I want to tell you about is ghee. If you want to get rid of dairy in your life, but you
Okay.
like the taste of butter,
Yeah.
stick with ghee. It actually is the only dairy product made from a cow that doesn't actually qualify as dairy from a
I
cow.
know. It's weird, but it's true.
I make my own ghee. I'm actually allergic to dairy from the cow. I can eat goats and sheep's milk product without much of an issue, but I I'm allergic is not the right word. I am highly sensitive
Is
to
that
uh,
GEE?
GHEE.
Oh,
Yeah.
GHE.
GHEE. And you can make your own. I make my own ghee. It's very, very, very easy. It's cheap. If you go out and buy ghee in a jar, you'll spend $7 or $8 for
Yeah.
a jar about this big. And
Yeah.
you can go get yourself some unsalted organic butter and make that same amount of ghee for about $2.99. So, yeah. Oh, but back to Terry's question about vegetables. This is very important. Let me share this with you. Have either one of you heard of the Environmental Working Group?
I
No.
might have heard of.
No, look them up. They're also on my People I Like page on my website, the Environmental Working Group. They are a consumer watchdog organization. Um, they talk about all kinds of things that are negatively impacting human health and or positively impacting human health. And they years and years and years ago, I mean like almost 20 years ago, they created two lists that you must become familiar with. One of them is called the Dirty Dozen, and the other one is called the Clean 15.
Wow.
The
I eat
dirt.
everything on the Dirty Dozen on a daily
Yeah,
basis.
so I'm really glad we're talking about this because
I mean, every day.
everything, most of the things that are on the Dirty Dozen list either grow in very low hanging trees or at the very top of the soil, and they have very thin skins. So what that means is when we spray all the
Crap.
pesticides, even those that aren't intended for this particular crop, because they're so absorbent like sponges, they're going to soak up way more stuff than we
Oh,
ever intended them to get. So, for instance, this list does change from time to time, depending on the season or new pests coming in or whatever. Strawberries are always on the list. Sometimes they're first, sometimes they're second or third, but they're always on the list. If you eat strawberries that are not organic, you're getting something like 4 times more pesticide than you would if you ate,
God.
a food that's not on the Dirty Dozen list. So Veronica already said everything that's on this list I eat all the time. So from now on, Veronica, I don't want you to eat anything on this list that's not organic. And
Okay.
you have Trader Joe's in Atlanta, do you not?
Well, I'm not in Atlanta
Oh,
anymore.
you're
That's
not
where I
like
used to live.
In
I'm in
Indiana.
southern Indiana. I have Trader Joe's up in Indy, but I don't have a Trader Joe's here. Louisville is the closest Trader Joe's.
Okay, well,
We
look
do have a
around.
place called Fresh Time though. So
Okay,
Thyme.
look
Yeah.
around. In my neck of the woods, we have Trader Joe's, we have Sprouts.
Yeah, my friend lives in Denver, and I get so I'm at Sprouts. I'm at shut up.
Yeah,
She's got
I
Sprouts
know.
there.
But we
So
also have great farmers markets. So what I do
yeah,
is
and that's where I get in the season. I can get a lot of stuff. It's just when winter comes, that's when
yeah.
there's
Well, here's the thing. Our bodies are seasonal just like the weather, and
Yeah,
it's true that we actually do better with not eating berries, for
right.
instance, in the wintertime because that's not really, that's not when they're available.
That's true. It's
Organic food.
absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So start to look around to see if, there's certain things that you must have year round. I would try to find the least expensive place to get them organic if you're getting things on the Dirty Dozen list. The Clean 15 list, though, also very important to know because those are things that generally either grow way high up in a tree or way down deep in the ground, but most importantly, they have thick, 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 thick skins. So they are not likely to soak up the pesticide like a sponge, like a lot of the other vegetables and fruits out
Got
there.
it. Okay.
When you want to buy something that's on the Clean 15 list, just get it the cheapest place you can find it, save your money.
Yeah, because I mean, I eat avocados like nobody's business, and the
Yep.
mushrooms and kiwi. Those are my three,
Yep.
and onions. But
I probably eat a whole avocado every day.
I
I
know me
love
too.
avocados.
I used to
Absolutely.
have.
I love asparagus. I love cabbage. I love mushrooms. I love carrots. I don't eat bananas all that often, but every single thing else on that list I eat all the time except for pineapple because I'm allergic to bromelain. So now you can actually get the app on your phone for the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. And
Okay.
that way, when you're in the store, you can quickly check because sometimes things drop off the Dirty Dozen list. Then you don't need to be worried about them anymore. And sometimes things jump on the Dirty
I
Dozen
guess
list.
my biggest thing is I just love spinach and kale, and that's when I was vegan, that just was like that's like
Yep.
my daily intake. So.
Yep. 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 So the bottom line, all that I ever really try to teach people when I'm doing any classes like this is how to improve the integrity of your digestive tract
Yeah.
and lower your systemic inflammation at the same time. And two of the best ways to do it is to eat um, whole food or things as
Yep.
close to their original packaging as you can. Eat more vegetables, right? And in the case of osteoporosis, probably is not a bad idea to either switch to only goats and sheep's milk dairy or just kick dairy right off your plate altogether. So that's what I wanted to share with you tonight about nutrition. Do either one of you have any questions about all that?
I had one and it popped out of my mind. Now, I have heard of this because you mentioned it the other
Yes.
day when we were with Blair and Denise.
Yes.
Now, yeah,
Yes.
my son is big on organic fruits and vegetables and
Got it.
fusses at me and checks the labels on the stuff. And
Absolutely
he
check it.
says if it's a certain number, you're not supposed to buy it. You should only buy things that start with 8 and 9 or something like that.
Well, oh yeah, that's true. The things that are organic have a certain number on them.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's different in different places though. In our neighborhood, it used to be a 4, and now it's something different.
Now,
But
4 down here are the ones that are bad. He didn't like my pears.
I don't know. So if you're
Yeah.
going to buy something in a bag or a box, here's another trick. Well, here's another trick. Shop the perimeter of the store
Absolutely. Yeah.
because that's
Yep.
where all the
Yeah.
whole food is. If you're going to buy something in a bag or a box, try to find something that has like no more than 5 or 6 ingredients and you know exactly
What
what all of them are. Like if you can't pronounce something or you have no idea what it is, I just put that thing right back up on your shelf.
what do you think about like things like oat milk? Because I have trouble with a lot of dairy too, but things like
Yeah.
oat milk, almond milk, I know they're getting a kind of a bad rap. I don't do a ton of it, but
Yeah.
no,
The,
no.
part of the problem with all of that is that again, did you all know there's only 10 major food manufacturers in the world now?
I don't,
No.
that's not surprising.
Only 10. And that means even the small little boutique manufacturers of healthy food are owned by like Kraft. And
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know.
and so the problem is that everybody wants in on, the thing that's hot these days. And all of these milk substitutes are very, very hot, but they are loaded with ingredients that do not exist in nature. I, again, remember I'm slightly allergic to cow's milk. So I'm actually a huge lover of coconut milk. It's a
Yeah, I do like
completely
that.
whole
Yeah.
food.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I do
get
like
it in the
coconut. Yeah.
can. It's a whole food. And in fact, one of the things I'm going to send you when the class is over is sort of an abbreviated version of my things I like page. Because on
Okay.
that page, I have all of these food items and books and things that I have a hot link right to the place where you can get them the cheapest. And one of them is there's a particular can of organic coconut milk I really think is great. All that's in the can of coconut milk is a little bit
Yes.
of
Coconut
coconut
milk.
meat and the milk and a little water, and that is it. It's absolutely 100% a
I
whole
would
food.
try that. Well,
It's
now,
delicious.
when I took something with you before, you talked about parsnips, and I don't think I had ever had a parsnip before.
I love parsnips.
And I found the parsnips. We have them sometimes on the very tippy toppy shelf, and there's
Yeah.
always only just a few of them.
Yeah, I don't
These
think
things
that
like parsnips, and I started putting them in stews and things where I when I could get them.
they're wonderful. I just love them. They were actually, now I think the one reason why there's a very low population of parsnips in San Antonio, Terry, is because they really thrive in sort of a cold
Yeah.
environment. In fact, they were the national crop of Ireland until the British conquered them and made potatoes,
Oh,
right?
so nobody is growing them, and they have to be imported. That's the
Yeah,
deal.
I think they're being imported into San Antonio, but they're very popular here. So I substitute them for anything in which there's a plain old potato because there's more vitamins and minerals in a parsnip and it tastes almost the same.
Well, do you peel your carrots and your parsnips?
Sometimes I peel them if they're really nasty, but if I can get away with just scrubbing them, I let them go. Because that's another, I'm glad you brought that up. Most of the vitamins and minerals in a
Or in the
vegetable or a
skin.
fruit are located either in the skin or quite near it.
I like the
Yep.
skins, and I
Yeah,
grew up eating the skin off of a potato, and apparently
yep,
not the
absolutely.
thing to do
A-
if you eat potatoes.
Any way you can get away with eating the skin is fine. In fact, I know a lot of people that, little clementine oranges, those little teeny
Yeah, I
Yes.
love those.
slice them, like a slice, you know, and leave the rind on and just eat the whole thing. You get a lot of vitamins and minerals in the skin. Oh, two other things I wanted to talk to you guys about is if you are absolutely sure that you want a calcium supplement, I can turn you on to something that's pharmaceutical grade. That's way better than anything you're going to find in a big
That would be
box
good.
store. And you might want to get your vitamin D levels checked
I
because
Yeah,
did.
I was
That's
going
when
to
I
ask you
found out
that.
I had an iron deficiency.
yeah, vitamin D deficiency is at the root of a lot of diseases, and we're only just now beginning to get that. Of course, the best source of vitamin D is 20 minutes of morning sun, mostly to the face and the arms. But if you're worried about that, there are some really good vitamin D supplements on the market. Um, and even just 8 or 10 years ago, they were saying, oh, most people only need about 800 IU a day. And now we're saying most people need between 1 and 5,000 IU a day.
Yeah.
So get your vitamin D levels checked because, especially if you're taking a calcium supplement, if you take calcium without the presence of vitamin D, you're going to have extra calcium floating around your body and you're going to end up throwing kidney stones or getting calcium deposits on your bones. So,
Well, I had the vitamin D checked, and my vitamin D was fine, but my iron was not. So he
yeah,
put me on an iron pill, and
yeah,
those
Oh,
are nasty. But
you
I
might
started
need that.
using my iron skillet again, and I'm wondering if cooking in the iron skillet.
That's a great idea. It's a
absolutely.
great way to get more iron. Yep,
Absolutely.
absolutely. My kiddo Kirsty really struggled with iron deficiency during teenage years because of heavy periods, and we switched over to cast iron cooking, and it actually helped.
Mhm.
So there you go. There you go. So, any other questions about nutrition? I do want to switch. I do want to talk about Tai Chi Chuan because it's absolutely 100% relevant. We good?
We're good.
Okay. All right. So, of course, for Terry, I'm going to be preaching to the choir, but
That's
this is
okay.
for mostly for
I
Veronica.
always learn. I'm learning while we're training people. I'm learning some new things.
Yes. Okay. So, from a Chinese perspective, first, I want to back up and tell Veronica that there is lots of different kinds of Tai Chi in the world. And the truth is, at this stage of the game, even the phrase Tai Chi is almost an umbrella term because there's so many different kinds of Tai Chi that most people don't realize when they say Tai Chi that that's only part of the equation. There's Tai Chi Chuan, there's Tai Chi Cha, and there's all different styles of Tai Chi Chuan. So, um, what I want to talk to you about specifically tonight is Tai Chi Cha, and that's the
And how
style
are
of
you
Tai
spelling the
Chi.
last word? CHUA?
It's actually spelled CHIH,
Oh, okay.
but it's pronounced Cha, like almost like CHAH, or
Yeah.
maybe even like Chuck Wagon without the K.
Okay. Cha.
Cha.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, it's the only style of Tai Chi that has no martial application. So although all the other styles of Tai Chi are, basically slow-mo martial arts, Tai Chi Cha is nothing other than a moving mindfulness practice. And you can tell by its name because Cha means knowledge of. If we were to
Oh.
translate it from Mandarin into English, it means knowledge of. But Tai Chi means supreme ultimate. So you can tell right off the bat that Tai Chi Cha is nothing other than something meditative, and there's no offense, there's no defense, that's all it is. But from a Chinese perspective, the purpose of doing Tai Chi Cha is to activate and circulate and balance your the energy that's flowing throughout your body all your life. You could call it qi if you like.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but your qi is actually only activated and circulated during the moving portions of Tai Chi Cha. This is one of the huge distinctions between Tai Chi Cha and all the other styles of Tai Chi. Rather than moving constantly from the very first moment you start to the very last moment that you finish, during our Tai Chi Cha practice, we move some and then we rest, and then we move some and then we rest. So during the resting portions of Tai Chi Cha, the chi actually comes to rest in your bones,
Oh.
the marrow of your bones, actually. So that's one reason why, of course, that cradle of your immune system is one reason why Tai Chi Chuan makes you healthier. But of course, it has a lot to do with your bone density, right?
Okay.
So now there have been just scads of studies on Tai Chi because most of the Tai Chi practices out there are older than Tai Chi Chuan. Tai Chi Chuan is only 50 years old. A lot of the other Tai Chi practices are a couple thousand years old. We have had 24, I want to say, uh, uh, high quality research studies done on Tai Chi Cha. So far, none have been done specifically on bone density yet. However, I personally know a number of Tai Chi Cha instructors who became instructors because it made such a dramatic difference on their bone density. Their doctors were like, "What are you doing?" Because I almost can't believe I'm looking at the same person's DEXA scan just since last year. Something really big has changed.
Wow. Okay.
And Terry, do you know Lori Marquetta? Have you
No,
ever met her?
no.
She's the one that always jumps right into the front of my mind when I talk about this because she's one of those slender white women
Mhm.
whose everybody in her family had osteoporosis, and she kind of knew all her life it was probably coming because that every woman in her family had it. And indeed, in her late 30s, early 40s, she was starting to show signs of developing the condition. So she was on her doctor's radar. Um, she tried all of the standard remedies, for osteoporosis, none of which set well with her. She had wild reactions to everything. She tried all the prescription medicines. She tried the generic versions of them. She tried the natural forms. She had all these wild reactions to them, and she was pretty much resigned to the fact that she was going to have a hunchback just like all the women in her family, right? And that's when she discovered Tai Chi Cha. So this is why I know this is everything I'm telling you is not woo woo. She didn't change anything in her life. She was no longer on any treatments for her brittle bones at this point because none of them were working and they all made her sick. She didn't make any changes in her life, no changes to her diet, no changes to her exercise routine, no changes to anything else except she added Tai Chi Cha. And she did it every day for a year. And when she went back for her next DEXA scan, her doctor was so astounded, he literally called her up and said, "What are you doing?" I had no idea I was looking at Laurie Marquetta's films this time around. And she's not the only one that I have met. I have a couple of students that actually decided to start doing Tai Chi Cha specifically because they were worried about their bones, and their density did improve. So I feel a little bit unethical in saying things that sound like a promise when it comes to Tai Chi Cha, but I do feel very, very certain that Tai Chi Cha is really, really good for your bones. But even if you just look at it from a more scientific perspective, so when you're stressed out, your cortisol level rises, and elevated cortisol is an inflammatory response.
Yep.
And if your cortisol remains consistently high for a period of time, it becomes chronically elevated, and that leads to what's known as chronic systemic inflammation. And if you boil every major disease, and now we're going back to Dr. Michael Greger, right, down to its absolute essence and origin, including many cases of osteoporosis, all we're
Inflammation.
really talking about here is chronic systemic inflammation. So if you don't like Tai Chi Cha, but you do like and you practice some other type of high quality relaxation technique, and probably mindfulness would be your best choice because there have been oodles and oodles and oodles of studies on mindfulness as well, and it turns out that also improves your well-being, right? You will still lower your chronic systemic inflammation. But here's the thing. There are no other mindfulness practices out there that literally strengthen your bones at the same time, or at least come to rest in your bones, right?
What about Qigong versus Tai Chi Cha?
I'd be cool with Qigong because the truth is Tai Chi Cha is more Qigong-ish than Tai Chi-ish. That really is true. There's a
Is that
lot
right?
closer
I
link.
wondered if I needed to learn Qigong.
I don't know that you have to learn Qigong. I feel like anybody who's practicing Tai Chi Cha has got all their bases
Enough.
covered. But if you want to learn Qigong, Terry, I'm not going to tell you
I
no.
know, I know.
Yeah,
I've just got a certain amount of time in the day.
yeah,
I know to really, 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 really get good at Tai Chi Cha, I had to
right.
pour myself into it entirely.
So
I did.
here's the other reason why I'm a huge advocate of Tai Chi Cha over Qigong. And this is for Veronica's benefit as much as yours, Terry.
Right.
It might take you a couple of years to learn Qigong. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
There are no other practices out there that are as easy to learn as Tai Chi Cha. And the best way to get the effect that we're talking about here is to do the practice. So why would I send anybody to a class where they're not even going to be able to do the practice on their own, maybe for a year or two or three, when they could, in a couple of hours, pick up everything they need to know in order to start doing Tai Chi Cha on a really regular basis, right? So, and the other
Okay.
real advantage of Tai Chi Cha over a lot of other practices is if you can't do it standing, let's say your hip is so jacked up one day, Veronica, that you just can't do the standing practice. To the brain, it doesn't always differentiate between the seated and the standing practice. With very little modification, you can do all the moves from your chair, and you're still going to be reducing your inflammation and letting all that energy that you kicked up during the moving portions come to settle in the marrow of your bones when you rest.
I've
So,
started doing my classes, like doing both in the class
yeah, yeah.
and having people learn the seated as we learn the standing.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, there's a couple of moves that I don't teach standing before I teach it seated first, just because they're so much easier to do seated, and then you understand it better by the time you stand up.
What are your moves that you feel like you should do seated first?
Rocking motion and working the pulley, without a question, without a question. So I'll tell you what, why don't we do a little bit of rocking motion and a little bit of working the pulley in the chair so that Veronica can get a sense of how easy this stuff is. Okay. Why don't we do that? Can we do that? Do we have a chair? Does everybody have a chair?
Yep.
Okay. The other advantage of Tai Chi Cha over mindfulness practices, other mindfulness practices, I should say, is we're standing when we're doing Tai Chi Cha, you know? Or if we're seated, you're moving while you're doing Tai Chi Cha. Mindfulness is often still, you know?
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of bang for the buck when you're doing Tai Chi Cha that you just don't get when you're doing standard seated mindfulness practices. Can y'all see me?
Yep.
The whole of me? I'm going to drop my camera down a little bit though, so you can see more of me. Hang on a sec. Let me do this differently. I have a different camera I could use, but I think you'll be able to see me better this way. Okay. All right. So, find a position in your chair where you're in charge of your own spinal alignment, Veronica. I don't need to tell Terry how to do this because she's been teaching longer than me. But what you want to do is find a totally effortless position for your upper body so that you're not using any of your core muscles, your abs or your back or your obliques, to hold yourself up. I'm just balanced right here, just sitting in my chair. Here's another reason why Tai Chi Cha is such a great compliment to anybody who hangs out in the gym, and I know you do, is because we say the best way to do Tai Chi Cha is with the effort of no effort.
Okay.
So it's a perfect complement to any
Right.
high quality training routine. In many ways, it offers a lot of the benefits of sleeping. And we know that if you're not getting adequate sleep, your your muscles aren't going to they're not going to get as big as fast, but they're going to start to break down at some point. All right, so here we are balanced in the chair. And then let's do rocking motion. All we're going to do is let the weight that you feel in your butt right now. Right now, it's sort of in the middle of my butt. We're just going to let it shift a little bit backwards. And I'm not leaning backwards, right? I'm just letting my whole upper body shift backwards. And I feel my belly and my back get a little flatter, actually. You know, the
Mhm.
curve in my back got a little flatter. And then let's let ourselves shift a little forward. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm talking about. And my belly and the small of my back got a little rounder now. So I'm just going to show you what
Mhm.
I'm talking about here from the side. That's backwards. That's forwards. And my head never really gets either out in front or behind
No.
my pelvis. It's like a balloon that's tied to the bottom of the pelvis and it's just kind of coming along for the ride. That's backwards. That's forwards. Now this time when we go backwards, let your hands hang down and just let the palms face towards your knees. And we're going to do rocking motion in the chair. And here we go. We're going forward and we're just letting the hands rise. We're mostly bending the elbows. And we're moving back and the hands are flowing back. And they just turn around. And they go forward. And they go back. And many people tell me that pretty quickly here, they start to feel like they're sitting on a glider.
It is.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
this move is very appropriately named because some people say, oh, it's kind of like sitting in Granny's rocker. Yeah. And the hands flow forward as you move forward, and they flow back as you move back. Right? And they go forward. And they go back. Right? There's only 20 moves in the whole practice, but there's no rule in the rule book that we have to do all of them. And there's no rule in the rule book that you have to do them in a certain order. We have a suggested order, but you don't have to do it. All the research on Tai Chi Chuan is very clear that even just 15 or 20 minutes a day, even if it's just one move, that's the only move you know, and that's what you do, even that will improve your health. That's a given. 15 to 20 minutes every day will improve your health. It'd be wrong for me to tell you in what way. That'd be unethical, but it will happen. Even if it's just it lowers your stress, that's going to improve your health. Why don't we do 2 more? And here's our last one. And we're just going to let the hands kind of drift down to the legs. And we're just going to spend a moment just noticing what the body feels like when it's resting. And then we could do another move if we wanted. How did you like that?
I loved it.
You
Wow. It's very small moves and it's just so subtle, but it's really got a power behind it. It's got the energy, and you just, I mean, that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is definitely one of those less is more and even less is even more kind of things. Yeah.
Wow.
So we have time. Do you want to try to do it standing?
Yeah.
I feel 100% sure, even if you're having a really bad hip day, you can do rocking motion standing. Because you don't have to have one foot further out than the other, like some of the movements do.
Right.
I'm going to switch over to a different camera. So you'll be able to see my whole body better. There we go. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to just tell you right out of the gate here that many people find that they feel as if their balance gets challenged when they're moving backwards in this one. So if you feel like that's happening to you, you are not alone.
Okay. Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how we rest when we're standing, because you already saw how we rest when we're seated. We just sit in the chair with the body very balanced and weightless and just feel your butt in the chair, right? And you put your hands on your legs. So when you're standing, you put your feet sort of in a V.
Yep.
And now, depending on what's going on with your hips one day, that might not feel good. So maybe your feet will be more like this. But if you can put them with your heels a little closer than your toes, that's great, you know.
Okay.
And now I'll turn sideways so you can see what I'm about to say. This is the way I normally stand around. But when we're doing the rest position, standing, all you do is you let your tailbone kind of drop and tuck ever so slightly.
Okay.
And what happens is the backs of your knees get a little bit soft.
Uh-huh.
But most importantly, suddenly the weight in your feet gets very, very balanced. Do you feel the weight
Yeah.
in your feet? Yes, that's exactly what I wanted you to do. Okay,
Wow.
and now what do we do with the hands? So I just say, just let them hang, and then just lift your fingers, and suddenly your palms are almost in the exact same spot they were when they were on your legs, right?
Yep.
So now to start rocking motion, I better turn sideways. We're just going to let the weight drift a little bit towards the right leg so the left leg can get out there, and we're going to turn both the toes forward. So now your feet are in number 11.
Okay.
And all you do is shift your weight as far into your heels as you can go, and then you're going to lengthen your knees. Did you feel your weight shift more into your heels when you
Yeah.
did that? Yes.
Yeah.
And then just put your
Yep.
hands back here. Don't put
Okay.
them so far back that it throws you off your balance. Just put them a little bit behind
Okay.
your hips. Good.
Okay.
And now we're just going to let the weight shift towards the front of the feet. So we're going to let the knees be soft again, and we're going to shift. And when we get to about the balls and toes of the feet, we're going to lengthen the knees, and that's what sends the hands up. And then we're going to
Okay.
turn them over and let them come back. I'm going to shut up and you're just going to copy. So it's pretty much the same weight shift you did in the chair a minute ago, only there's a little bit more going on because we're shifting a little bit further through the feet than we were in our sit bones. Nice. I think we're all old enough to remember when swings were made out of ropes and boards. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Instead of these weird loopy rubber things that they are now, right? So did you ever stand on a swing and get it going?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what we're doing here, only a very soft and subtle version of that, right? Mm. Now, we normally only do about 9 of these. We often say that this is the warm up to the full practice. But because it's the warm up, a lot of people like to do a lot more than 9. So there's really no such thing as too many rocking motions. Nice. I'm going to face forward here. Maybe that'll help. And maybe it won't. But if this feels too complicated, you could always do it in the chair. And there's,
No, it's actually good. I mean, I can see that there may be days the chair would be necessary, but
yeah. If you're having a really painful day, there's no reason on earth why you can't get just as much neurological and also bone density benefit out of the movement from a seated position. Why don't we do 2 more here? I'm going to mirror you since I'm facing you now. So that, let's do, this is 1. And on the last one, on the next one, we're going to also head back to the right, which is where we came from. And we're just going to land back and rest and just take a moment to feel your body resting. And then you could go on and do another move if you wanted to. But how do you feel? Do you have any pain or do you have any discomfort?
no, but I can definitely tell. I don't want to say stress. How do I want to say it? It feels good in my legs, but it's definitely a move that I can feel running up and down the entire leg.
Nice.
But not like when you go to the gym. You know what I mean? Not like painful.
Yeah.
It's not like no pain, no gain. It's just more of a lengthening, is what it feels like to me.
It's like no pain, no pain. How about that?
Yeah, but no pain, no pain.
No pain, no pain. Do you want to do one more movement seated? I'd love to show you rocking. I'm
Sure,
working the pulley if you want to do it. All right,
sure,
let me.
absolutely. Now, do you teach any of these classes virtually? Do you guys do it or what?
He
I
does.
do. I think Terry does too, right? Do you teach
No, I don't
virtually?
Okay,
do virtual.
You don't, or you do?
No, I don't.
You don't. I
okay.
do.
I'm not equipped to do it. I'm not good at technical
I
stuff.
know I would need a different thing. I only have a camera on my laptop and I have to rearrange everything. I work from home, so it's kind
It's
of
all good. Yeah. Now I have, let's see. Right now I have 3 classes a week that have a virtual attendance option.
okay.
But I also teach one-on-one. I'm actually working with a couple of Terry's clients right now, they're getting ready to become teachers. I have a
wow.
lot of one-on-one clients that I work with. So, yeah, you could definitely attend classes. They're only $15 a piece, which is amazing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So, I'll try to remember to write myself a note to send you information on classes too. But let's do work in the pulley. Let me show you what it looks like standing. You don't have to get up, but I just want to show you. Then many people say, you can't see my head, I know, but that's okay. Many people say it looks like swimming,
Oh.
but I'll tell you what, it's way easier than swimming. For one thing, you don't have to worry about the drowning thing. You really know it's way easier than swimming. Seated, oh my gosh, it's so easy though. So we're just gonna get ourselves in the chair and we're gonna feel that very effortless, balanced weight, almost weightlessness in the upper body that we already discovered with the other move. And just so we don't lose track of which hand goes where, I just want you to move your left foot. I'm mirroring you because I'm facing you. Move your left foot like maybe an inch or two further out than your right.
Okay.
It's mostly a memory cue for what you do with your feet when you're standing. And then you're just going to bend your left elbow. So your hand's going to be right near your shoulder. And you're going to just rotate your lower right arm. Right? So now this move is so much easier in the chair because your arms are actually moved about by what's going on in your torso. So I always say, pretend your belly button has somehow become an eyeball. And it loves to look towards the elbow that's attached to the lower arm. So
Okay.
it's just going to, now your head is going to stay facing forward. That way you'll be able to watch me. But everything from here to here is going to turn towards this elbow. So it's just going to turn. And can you sort of feel how this shoulder came out and this elbow
Yeah,
went
it came
back?
forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So all you're going to do is drop the front hand and turn over the arm. And then you're
Okay.
going to semicircle the back arm like at the elbow. Yes. And now we're going to go the other way. Remember, this is the belly button. It likes to look at this elbow now.
Okay.
So here we go. And we're only going as far as we can comfortably go in the chair. And then we drop and turn over the front arm and semicircle the back arm. Yeah. All right, I'm going to shut up. Let's just go.
Okay.
Yeah. And over time, it gets smoother.
Yeah. Not real pretty. Yours is pretty.
And even if you get confused, it's not rocket science, right? It's not brain surgery. Nice. And remember, we say we're using the effort of no effort here. So if you start to feel your arms really working, that's not the effort of no effort.
It's that gym mentality, right?
Yeah. I hear my alarm going off. It's telling me it's time to take my 9 o'clock pill. I'm going to turn it off. It's going to bug us. Let's do one more here. And as we come back to the middle, we're just going to let the lower arm catch up with the upper arm. And then we're just going to rest here. Just feel your body resting while I turn off my alarm. Thank you, alarm. Anyway, so that's how we do it. And it's definitely the absolute opposite of the gym where everything is go heavy or go home. It's 100% different from that. It's the perfect
Not a
balance.
lot at the gym that I like.
I've been a rat for 40 years. It's always I used to call it my church, but it's kind of where I go to clear my head. It's my hour of not anybody.
I take Spanish online, and one of my very favorite of the Spanish students has osteoporosis, and her family is inclined toward it. And she was lifting weights at home, doing maybe heavy, I don't know how heavy, and she felt her back break.
Oh my
Did
gosh.
it? She broke her bones doing.
Oh,
She felt it snap.
oh,
Yeah. So I'd be real careful about doing heavy weights if you've got
Yeah.
osteoporosis.
You've
yeah.
got to be working with somebody who's really an expert if you're going to lift heavy. You really, really
Yeah.
got to
Yeah,
be.
yeah. And now
And
she's in a brace, and trying to heal.
oh my gosh,
So
that's so bad. Yeah. So yeah, I recently was on a podcast with the American Aerobics um, Association International, and they were like, wow, are you kidding me? I mean, again, in our industry, it's always go heavy or go home. And I said, yeah, and you know what? Sometimes there's real power in softness.
Yeah.
If you
that's
look
what
at the way
I'm
the
believing.
universe works,
That you can
softness
never get
wins.
anybody to do anything by being mean to them,
Yeah,
and you are if you approach it softly,
yes.
you're more likely to get results. In the South, they say, add a little sugar to it.
Absolutely.
A lot more flies with honey.
I lived enough years in Georgia. That is absolutely true. So,
Yes, you catch a lot more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So that's all I wanted to share with you tonight. Do I know again with Terry, she doesn't have any questions at all about Tai Chi Chuan. She already knew.
Well, I do have a comment because
Yes.
Denise does. I've watched her, that first time that we were working together.
Mhm.
She was not bringing her, she was stopping her hand at her hip almost, not
Right
coming
here.
back far enough.
Yeah,
Yeah. So she needs to, and I have already told her, we'll see if she's improved it.
I know.
She's going back further now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure everything I've told them, you've already told them 100 times.
Oh no, I'm sure not. No, Blair's rocking motion is really improving. Yeah, and it's really wonderful to watch.
That's wonderful.
And he's kind of a vegetarian vegan type. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
But he
yeah.
is.
Now, what about nutrition? Do either one of you have any more questions about that, or do we go over? I pretty much rammed all that down your throat.
no, I just need to get back, and I got a little problem. I went back to when I became a vegan, the last thing I dropped meat like a hot potato. I didn't have any problem with that. And that was like, well, 11 years
Yeah.
ago when I did it. But the big thing that was a problem, and it's an addictive, and I talked to a lot of people who became vegan, cheese is the last damn thing to go. It's just that it's that pull of the
People love
casein. I
cheese.
never knew about that, and it is so addictive. I'm like, I don't
Love
care about
me. Yeah.
don't care about me. But it's like, is that cheese?
Yes,
Is that cheese? So
people
I
love
need to get
cheese.
back, and I love feta cheese, and I love I'm going to try the manchego. I mean, if I need to have
Yeah,
some kind of cheese, but I'm
yeah.
going to try to get off of it because
Now,
it's
make
Well, I
really
like
sure.
annoying.
goat cheese. That's good to know. I
I
like
love goat cheese. Make sure if you're going for feta, most American feta is made from cow's milk. You need
What?
authentic feta is made from
Well,
sheep's milk. If it's not made from sheep's milk, it's not real.
well, there's a place here called the Fresh Market, and believe me, I'll check out and make sure I get the
Yep.
cheese from them because they have the whole cheese section, so
And
I'll
I'm
make
telling you,
sure.
if you like feta and you've never had authentic sheep's milk feta before, when you taste this, you're going to be like, I am never, ever having any other feta but this. It's so much better. It's so much better. I'm actually, father's side of the family, I'm Russian of all things. On my mother's side of the family, I'm Scottish. But I think in another life, I must have been a Greek because there's no such thing as enough feta cheese in the world to me. I think I I could just die and go to heaven with feta cheese.
What do they
Only,
eat in Scotland anyway?
yeah, really, parsnips. So but I would never touch American feta if my life depended on it. It's disgusting compared to the actual thing.
Because I'm Scottish too, but I've never been there.
I've been there, but it's been so long that it almost doesn't qualify anymore. I'm 64 and I haven't been there since I was 10. So I think I need to go back. I think I need to go back. Yeah, they eat a lot of parsnips in Scotland, actually.
They grow them there because it's cold.
A lot of root vegetables. A lot of
Yeah.
root vegetables in Scotland. Yeah. And a lot of
But you
sheep.
do have you've got a website, you
Yeah,
said, right?
mutton. Yeah, they eat mutton.
They eat mutton. They eat mutton.
We don't
Yeah.
eat mutton.
Oh,
Sheep's
What's
stomach.
happened to the
mutton's
meat
gross.
industry? Have you noticed that there's not very many kinds of meat that are sold?
No, they have a lot of sheep, a lot of lamb. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a website, Veronica. You've been on it, haven't you?
No, but I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, here's something I want to share with you. Hold on. Oops, I can't minimize. I want to show you. First, I'm going to go to my website here. All right, so here is my home page. There, can you see it?
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I've
So
been
under
on.
resources, here's my things I like page and my people I like page. So you can read all about Dr. Michael Greger here on people I like and all the things that I like to eat here. But one thing I did not mention tonight was, let me see if I can stop the share, is if you cannot or simply are not interested in eating at least 9 to 13 servings of vegetables every day, because every major World Health Organization thinks that's how many we should be eating every day. One option for you is something called Juice Plus. It is something that I
Yep.
sell on my website.
I've known about Juice Plus for years. I didn't know it was still around, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
That I need to get that.
it is a wonderful thing. It's the only supplement I sell because it's the only supplement in the whole world that's actually whole food.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just
yeah.
dehydrated vegetables and fruits. That's all it is.
Now, when you say
And
servings, what constitutes a serving?
well,
That's where I'm like, oh, that's a lot.
yeah,
Not that I don't.
yeah. It depends on what you're eating. Like if it's an apple, it's about the size of a tennis ball. If it's berries, it should be about the size of a golf ball. If it's leafy, it should be more, you know. Then it depends on how you're preparing it. Like if you're eating it fresh, it's going to be a lot. If you're eating it cooked, it's going to be smaller. The thing about Juice Plus is they dehydrate
Right.
29 servings of vegetables and fruits into 6 capsules, the actual whole food, into 6 capsules. And people are like, how's that possible? But it's because if you dehydrate the human body, you can pretty much fit it in 6
Yeah.
capsules.
These are capsules.
Yeah, you can get them in gummies if you prefer. I think they now make them in powder form that you add to water. It tastes pretty good. Um, it's a little bit pricey. So I always say if you don't want to spend all your money on vitamins, just do the paleo plate or the Mediterranean plate and just eat your veggies that way. Look at it this way. If I'm eating a Mediterranean meal 3 times a day, it's a guarantee that I can fit at least 3 servings of vegetables on every plate of the day. So that's 3 servings times 3. That's 9 servings of vegetables right there.
True.
Every
True.
major World Health Organization, including the World Health Organization, agrees that we should eat somewhere between 9 and 13 servings of vegetables and fruits every day. So even if you're not eating paleo, which has more vegetables, right? Even if you're going Mediterranean, chances are you can do 9 a day, right? But if you feel like you can't, this is an option for you, right? So anyway, but one thing that I will send you amongst your goodie bag, amongst your packet here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Videos. I have sort of a truncated version of my things I like page. Let me see if I can find it. Where did it go? Here we go. Let me get it loaded up here. Come on. Here we go. And I'm going to share my page. So,
Oh, cool.
it's the things that we really talked about tonight primarily, so you don't have to go through pages and pages and pages of stuff. I talk about the supplements we talked about, some of the foods we talked about.
I like ancient nutrition. That's a good bone broth too.
Bone
Okay.
broth is really, if you just can't, you just don't want to be cooking chicken all the time, you don't want to be cooking fish, bone broth is a lot of protein in bone broth.
Yep.
Here I talk about coconut milk. If you don't
Okay,
want
it's
to use
native. I
milk in
never
your
heard of native
coffee.
forest. Okay.
Some great kitchen gadgets. I'm a big believer in smoothies. I like to make vegetable and fruit smoothies all the time. There's some sports related equipment here. This might come into play if you decide to work with Jen. Here are the books. Here are the people who invented paleo. It starts
Yeah, it
with
starts
food,
with
Dallas and
food.
Melissa
Yeah.
Hartwig.
Oh,
And
the Untethered Soul. I love that book.
yep. And
That is
here's
a
how
one.
not
In
to
fact, I'm going to
die.
pull that off my bookshelf. How Not to Die.
That is a great book, The Untethered Soul. Here's Dr. Michael Greger, How Not to Die.
That's great.
Full Catastrophe Living, John Kabat-Zinn. You can't beat that. Here's where you can get yourself the free app for your phone, the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. These are great. These are great DVDs.
Oh, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. That was amazing. I watched that. These are the one things I watched when I did become vegan food vegan.
It's true. Here's a great overview of the Tai Chi Chuan practice, but
Oh, cool.
you can also do it with me on YouTube, by the way, Veronica. If you don't want to come to class, you can do it with me on YouTube.
Okay. Oh, and you do Insight Timer. I do transcendental meditation. I got taught that several years ago, and given my mantra and so on. So I do actually practice that as well. But I like the Tai Chi because it is a movement thing as well. I incorporate a lot of things, I don't think there's like one thing that you should or shouldn't, I think that
Right.
they all kind of work together. So
Are you ready? I'm going to give you the secret of life. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here it is. I'm going to lay it on you. You're going to know the secret of life. It has two parts. The first part is we get really good at what we practice most.
Yep.
Duh. Right. The second part is, but we only practice what we like. The tricky
This
part
is
in life,
true.
and that isn't a Jessica original, by the way. That's Lao Tzu, who's the father of
That's true.
Taoism, right? The author of the Tao Te Ching.
Yeah.
But it's true. If you don't like any of the things I showed you tonight, but you have things that offer all the same value and you do like them, those are the things you will do, and those are the things that will make you well.
Well, what was the second part? We know where we've heard that you only get good at what you practice most.
Right.
But what was the second part?
We only practice what we like.
That's the truth. Yeah. That's me.
Right. Terry and I know a Tai Chi, a very famous Tai Chi teacher who always says we get very good at what we practice most. But that's not a David Dorian Ross original. That is a Lao Tzu original. That's for sure not. Yeah, he didn't coin that phrase. Yeah, so if you really like Qigong, or if you really like yoga, or any way that you can move and offset your stress at the same time, that will help. But again, I like to go back to the fact that when you're doing Tai Chi Chuan, you're doing the moving part, you're kicking around all that energy, you're circulating it, you're activating it.
Right.
When you do the resting part, where you're just noticing your body at rest, all that stuff you just kicked up comes to rest in the marrow of your bones. That's just.
Well, I really love Tai Chi. It's not that I'm trying to find anything else. I was just curious. And I was very fortunate that I just kind of accidentally backed into it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I knew someone who was teaching it, and I thought it was going to be like hula dancing, which I kind of knew.
I love the moves though. Even the pulley moves were just they're beautiful. I mean, they're really beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. And they're easy.
it does fix some things in your body and also in your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's the other secret of life. You ready for it? And this is not a Jessica original either. This is Dr. Peter Wayne, and he's the leading researcher on the relationship between Tai Chi and your health. So this is what he says. What starts in the head does not stay in the head, and what starts in the body does not stay in the body.
Ooh, nice.
So that's the thing. You need to you need to find something that both calms and soothes your body in order to calm and soothe your head. And you need to find something that calms and soothes your head because that will also calm and soothe your body. So there's a place in every very active lifestyle for Tai Chi Cha. I really believe that that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And I've never met anybody who doesn't need it. Whether or not you do it is another thing, but I've never met anybody who doesn't need it.
Playing the piano has been it for me lately.
Yeah. Say it again.
Playing the piano,
Oh, yeah.
and I play by ear.
That's very meditative.
Yo, it
Very-
is, because I make it all up as I go.
I bet it sounds good.
It is. It's fun.
Well, I think that we have talked up a storm. I actually feel myself getting hoarse. So I think we should end the evening. All right. Do we have any other fabulous parting questions, or shall we?
Oh, thank you. We
No,
will
I think
touch on these.
it was a joy, really. Thank you. And you're going to send us the recording, and I'm probably going to be in touch with you all on several things. So
Yes.
should be interesting.
Would you like the whole recording? Would you just like the movement piece? Because I can just send you the little piece rather than a 2-hour film.
It's up to you. I mean,
It's up to
really,
you.
I have a lot of these that I like enjoy them sometimes. I just like the conversation. So I work
Okay.
from home, so it gets pretty lonely here sometimes. I might just have it running on my other monitor and go, oh yeah, I love those people. I wonder how
Okay.
Terry's doing.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll break it down and I'll do two. I'll do just the movement piece.
Okay.
I'll break that out separately.
Okay, that's a good thing. And that might be better because I would want the movement piece to work with for a while and maybe
Yeah.
not
Go
go
to
through
the
it.
Tai Chi Cho website too, don't you think she could do
Yes,
that?
actually. Oh, that was the one other thing I wanted to share. So, let me quickly share my screen here. I've got my YouTube channel all loaded up. Now you can get to my YouTube channel from several places on my website. If you're on my website and you go to the videos page,
Yep.
all the videos there, and there are some about cooking and there's some about movement and there's a lot about Tai Chi Cha. Over half of them is about Tai Chi Cha. Those are all actual YouTube videos from this YouTube channel. So it sometimes it's a little faster and easier on people's computers if they just go right to the YouTube channel. So here's my YouTube channel. When you get here, I have playlists.
Oh, cool.
And probably the very fastest way for you to learn Tai Chi Cha would be to go to the Tai Chi Cha moving meditation playlist.
Okay.
And then once you do that, you get, are you still able to see the page? Do you
Yes.
see? Oh, good.
Yeah.
So there's a few videos here that talk about the background and the medical benefits and,
That'd be
all that
cool.
kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
then each one of the movements are broken down into individual chapters. But for
Oh,
some
wow.
people,
Okay.
that's a little hard to learn that way. So if you go down to the bottom, right about here, I have a full silent
Oh,
standing
wow.
practice. Yeah. And you can just copy it, Veronica. And as long as you're using that effort of no effort thing, um, and even if you're not doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing, you're still going to be improving your health, even just copying along. And if you're having a really jacked up hip day, you can do the seated one. I have a full seated practice
That's
too.
pretty cool.
So
Okay.
you can tell I've been teaching for a while because I used to be a redhead. Can you tell that?
I was going to say, I laughed.
I
I was
know.
like,
People
wait
are
a minute, is that
like,
Jessica?
used to be a redhead. Yeah, I let my hair go gray during COVID. I'm like, we're
I
never
did
gonna have a
too.
pandemic again. Yeah.
I've got my headband on because I need to get a haircut, but that's when I started going silver. So I was like, you know what? And my
Yeah.
hairdresser's like, I love it. I don't want to color your hair anymore. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I got tired of showing up at the salon every 3 weeks, and so I decided to go natural, and this is what happened. But yeah, so this video was done in 2017, which really wasn't that long ago, but
I
I'm
know, I know.
full whitey now. But anyway, so yeah, that is all I have to share. So I'll send you all. I'm going to let Jen weigh in before I send out the information to see if there's anything else she wants to add.
Oh yeah.
I'll send you the smaller, just the movement piece. I'll send you the full video, and you can look back over the whole thing if you want. And a whole bunch of, I'm going to send you a lot of paper resources, like in the form of PDFs.
Oh, that's
Um,
fine.
yeah. And then that way, if you want to get in touch with either Jen or with me about any of the three various aspects of this class, then we can proceed that way.
I recommend that you do take some actual lessons, but just
Oh yeah, I do too. I think so too, but it's going to be interesting. I'd love to read the background on that actually a little bit. I'm one of these weird people that likes to research and just like learn things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
absolutely.
This is me
But
writing myself a note to also send you, Veronica, the class information.
that
So
would be good. Thank you.
yeah.
Since you do that.
Now, the classes right now that have virtual attendance options, they are advertised as for veterans only.
Oh, okay.
But that's just because I give them to veterans for free. But there are always at least 2 or 3 civilians in the room at every one of my classes. So you don't need to worry about, oh my gosh, am I going somewhere where I shouldn't be?
Yeah, okay. Okay, good. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no
Are you a
problem.
veteran, my dear?
I am not, but I was married to one, and I
Okay.
don't know if you know that. Well, of course, you don't know this. I never told you. Tai Chi Cha is actually a very suitable remedy for suicidal thoughts,
Oh, wow.
mental health
PTSD.
conditions that are all very
Yeah.
prevalent. Did you know that U.S. military veterans are 6 times more likely to die
Oh,
by
yes.
their own hand than in combat?
Yes, I've read that.
Yeah,
It's terrifying. It's like,
it's
wow.
sad. Yeah. So my first husband was a veteran, and he has passed. So that's one reason why I teach.
Okay.
But I also think everybody needs Tai Chi Cha. It's just that veterans need it more.
Well, I mean, people get sort of PTSD from other things as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I've
Absolutely.
had I had my partner from a very long time relationship died this year, and I've been going through uh, a
Sorry.
big life change and dealing with a lot of things I didn't want to have to deal with, and being able to do Tai Chi has been wonderful.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for your loss. That's got to be tough.
Well,
I
it's
think it keeps people glued together.
Yeah.
yeah, it makes
Mm.
it much better. And knowing these things about body movement and effortless effort and all of that, yeah, it makes uh,
Yeah.
and keeping
Yeah.
your shoulders and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
For sure. For sure. For sure. Well, the two of you are simply delightful. I'm grateful that you were here tonight and glad that we got to do this class. And
Me too.
yeah. So we'll talk soon. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Take care, Terry.
a question now. When were you going to be able to meet with Blair and Denise again? Do you remember what that date was?
I think we decided, you know what? I'll just look on my calendar. That'd be quicker.
Do you have it there?
I think I do. Richter. My next meeting with them is the 19th of,
Good. I wanted to be sure it wasn't the 17th because that's when I'm
yeah,
having a big sale of stuff over here.
yeah. You know what? Yeah, I will make sure that happens. It
Okay,
looks like
19th.
I'm going to be able to go out of town with my husband by ourselves for the first time in quite some time the night before, but I will make sure that I'm available that morning.
Well, if
to
you're
work
not, you take care of yourself and we will change the day.
No, we will definitely do it because we have to skip the next one because I'm not available.
Yeah,
So
well, we can quit for Christmas and into the New Year's and when
quit for
you're
Christmas.
more available.
No quit. No
Thank
quitting.
you. It's so nice to meet you, Veronica.
You too, Terry. Take care. Jessica, I'll be in touch. Thank you.
We
Yeah.
will talk
Thanks so
soon.
much. Tell Jen thank you as well, please.
I will. I will. I will. Okay, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.